Good morning. I'm Noelle. I'm here with Acting President Jean Bordewich. Good morning, Jean.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. All right. So you've been on campus for about a month now, right?
Yes.
So during your time, you've been talking with students and faculty and staff. You also are an alum. So am I.
hmm
So that's kind of cool. What do you remember about your time at Guilford?
When I was here as a student,
Yes.
oh my, that's a great question. Well, I remember a lot of things, but I guess I have a lot of fond memories. And one that came back to me this past week when we had that really warm day
Mm-hmm.
was I remembered having classes outdoors under the trees on nice days. And so I went inside and we were having a meeting of about 4 or 5 people about, something related to the college. And I said, let's go sit outside. So we went and we pulled up the rocking chairs on the founder's porch and we sat out there and we had our meeting. And it was just great. It was a great memory, but it was also a great meeting.
I love that you're talking to so many students about issues at Guilford. Just kind of why is that important to have students knowledgeable about what's going on with Guilford?
Well, I think it's a two-way street. So clearly, I'm trying to learn as much as I can about Guilford today.
Mhm.
My memories are great, but what's important is what's happening today with students here. So I want to learn as much as I can about that quickly.
Mhm.
And as a trustee, I had some idea, but really it's different. You're not here that much and you're not talking to students very often. So this is a wonderful new experience. So I feel that I can hopefully be more transparent and give them information about what's going on here.
Mhm.
But then they feed into that by telling me their own experience. And a lot of issues have come up just in the last 3 or 4 weeks that we were able to address because we heard about them. When I say we, I'm talking about the transition team, myself, and other trustees. We wouldn't have heard about them if we weren't here on campus.
Mhm.
So every time I talk to a student, I learn something interesting. For example, talking to you a few minutes ago, I found out that we have a lot in common, which
We
I would
do.
have never guessed, which is we both know Greek. We
Mhm.
speak modern Greek. We both have an attachment to Greece. You have family there,
Yeah.
and we're both swimmers. So it's you never know when you talk to somebody what you're going to find out.
Exactly. So, what do you think the most important thing would be for students to kind of know about the transition and kind of what's going on?
Well, I think the most important thing to know is that we're making really fast progress.
Mm.
So when we came here, we had to immediately address very serious problems, mostly financial, in order to retain our accreditation at the end of this year.
Mm.
So that's our single-minded goal. We want to keep Guilford strong. We want to keep Guilford fun. We want to keep Guilford healthy, but we have to make sure we meet the requirements of our accrediting agency.
Mm.
So we actually made a lot of progress in 1 month. So I think that's very encouraging. And we're just making decisions every day. We have to relate, how do we keep the student experience strong and healthy, because our accrediting agency feels that that's a real strength of Guilford.
Mhm.
So we have to focus on the students and the student experience, but at the same time we have to make sure that we can pay for it.
How can students do their part to help out with Guilford in the transition?
Well, I think they are doing their part. They're here, they are studying hard, they're working athletics, they're participating in student activities and clubs, and they talk to me. So that really helps me to understand what we need to do as the administrative team and the transition team. I think that we all have to work together on solving our financial crisis, which is that our revenues and our expenditures don't match.
Mhm.
So we're spending more than we're taking in. But that's a two-sided equation. And as I mentioned before, one of the things students can do is to pay their bills on time. And we haven't been doing that in the past. We never enforced it, and that's one reason we got into this hole that we're in. So this semester we have over $2 million in student fees and tuition that were due when the semester started. And a lot of schools don't let students move in or start classes unless they have a zero balance. And
Mhm.
Guilford has been a little more lenient. We understand people sometimes have circumstances, maybe their financial aid package hasn't come through from the government or something. But now we're into the semester, and if we're going to pay the bills to our employees, but also to our vendors, and also for student clubs and other things that we need to really support the student experience, we're all in this together. We all need to pay the rent, but we also have the money to pay the rent.
Mhm.
And so it's a cycle that we depend on students and ourselves, of course, to raise money, but also to be frugal and prudent. What we're doing now is trying to trim costs wherever we can, whether it's through administrative overhead or outside consultants or contractors that aren't essential. We want to preserve our money as much as we can to invest in the student experience. And that's here, it's you, and it's our faculty, and it's the things that support students throughout the year.
So, speaking of the college's future, what do you see in the future for Guilford?
Well, I see a really exciting future for Guilford. So we're not closing. We are going to have a tough semester this semester because of our cash crunch, but we are also making plans for the future. So we're changing. We're not closing, but we are going to be, I think, better and better in the future because there's so many cool and interesting things at Guilford.
Mm.
Every time I talk to a student or a faculty member, I find out about some interesting thing they're doing. And I'm thinking, wow, we really need to support this. We need to. So I think that's going to attract more students to Guilford as we become more aware of our strengths and our opportunities that we offer, and we start getting out much more broadly to students and high school students and even adult students and say,
Mhm.
hey, this is a place where you can come and grow and be yourself and belong, and we will support you. I think that's very attractive. I
Yes.
think we'll get a lot of more students interested in coming here. We'll get a lot more support from alumni. We haven't done a good job of cultivating alumni. That's very high on my list for like next week, and that will ultimately turn to more financial support from alumni, from foundations, from others who want to invest in the college. But that takes several years
Mhm.
because in big projects, which I have quite a few in mind, I'm not going to tell you today. You have to raise money, you have to do things. But I really see Guilford as starting a new era and a new for the next generation. Like higher education is changing, students are different every generation, and we have to adapt to that. But what's enduring is our core values and the way we teach here at Guilford. The pedagogy is unique, and so we need to preserve that and protect that. And I think our curriculum is pretty good, although we could have more things to offer, not less. So that's the direction we're going in, and I'm excited about it.
Sounds very promising. I love
Yeah.
that. All right, Jean, this has been a great opportunity to talk with you. I
Well, I'm
think,
so glad I got to meet you. Let's do this again.
yes, most definitely.